All right, boys, here we are. One to Go Show live post-race from the USA Nationals. It's in the dark, but, you know, Chonga says we all look better in the dark anyway. So it is what it is. We don't have the big showcase lights here. We do have some pimping lights here, of course, with Max bitch and golf cart here, which I was hoping he was going to sell before the end of the show, but he did not get it done. Somebody will be buying this thing for sure. So shout out East Central Sports for that. But good racing tonight. You know, and I got to be honest with you. We have a few people chirping on our text saying, "Oh, just get rid of the pre-race stuff and all that and get right to the race." It is by far, it's not even close, the best driver introduction in dirt racing. There's not even a close second, right? So
the dome race is like right here with this, but these two are the best introductions in all of motorsports, in my opinion.
Yeah, they do a fantastic job. So, you know, a little bit of a recap on drivers that won. Finally got a win from a driver that I picked in the draft, Nitro James G.O.A.T, getting it done in the they call it the One to Go Show local late models.
Amen.
And then in the World of Outlaw late models, green to checkered. How about it for the Reaper, Ryan Gustin, getting it done? That was a surprise. He has not put together a 100-lap race yet in his career, and he got it done tonight. In a backup car, and he looked dang good.
He's been dominant, though, the last few nights. So, like, he's been consistently getting better and better. He won just a few nights ago.
In Wilmot with the other car.
With the other car. But he has actually been consistent, and he has been very consistently putting up some really good finishes.
He has. No, I don't know the answer to this. We're going to do some research. We'll bring it back to you on the regular show this week. Is this the first 100,000 to win show won by a non-Rocket or non-Longhorn in, like, say, the last decade?
Oof, yeah. I mean,
so I'm not 100% positive. We'll check that out. But, I mean, you think Longhorn, you think Rocket. Infinity by Wells getting it done in Victory Lane. So that's a big, big step for that group
super
for
late
sure.
models, obviously. Yeah.
So what stuck out to you guys tonight on the local side? Let's go to the local late models. Let's start with Mac, East Central Sports' very own Mac. What do you got?
I was actually, I'd take Pat Tor to win. He didn't make the feature. So that was very surprising.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, that was obviously, I was watching the screen thinking, oh, where's Pat? And I look over to the left, and there was this car sitting in the pits. He didn't make the feature. And I was like, oh, shit, that's who I picked. So that was super surprising. And then to see Shane go backwards was really surprising, too. And he looked really good in the heat race. So,
you know, and that's the thing. When you get darn near 50 late models here, right, you have some very good race car drivers. Even the best get humbled once in a while. Pat Dorr wins night 1, doesn't make the feature night 3. I never would have guessed that. But he got buried in a stacked heat race. And if you don't advance, I mean, it's a tough sledding. And I talked to Shane Sabraski after the races, and he says, you know, it was a little humbling. I kind of felt a little discouraged, but you don't get better if you don't get humbled once in a while. I mean, the guy's the best in the business around here in Wissota country. And for him to kind of have a couple off nights in a row here, he's going to learn from that. He'll get better, you know, and Shane Sabraski, he does what he does. Chonga, what stuck out to you on the local level?
Well, I mean, obviously, Ashley was coming at the end, but our boy, you know, I'm going to give a shout-out to our local boy, Kevin Eder. He was fast, and he's been fast up railing right on the tippy top a couple weeks back. Granted, he was railing up there, and Shane stole one from him, and tonight, you know, he looked good. He could have probably used a yellow at the end, and maybe could have gotten the mix. But, yeah, I was pretty excited to see Kevin Eder up there reeling.
Carson Tardy, right, the late Jeff Tardy's son, actually picked Kevin Eder to win. And he was ripping, and I got a little bone to pick still here. Years later with Kevin Eder, me and Jeff, right, we were actually rolling in super stocks, winning a bunch of races, like back when they had wooden wheels and stuff quite a while ago. And
full fields.
Full fields. But Kevin Eder comes up to me and Jeff Tardy, and he's like, man, you guys are getting kind of old. Some of us young guys got to win some races. I'm like, this is kind of bullshit. I didn't feel old. I'm really old now, but I wasn't all that old then. So, but great job by Kevin Eder. What stuck out to you?
I think, you know what, it was good racing, despite the track not being optimal. I felt like if we would have had a little bit better track prep before the local late models, they would have put on a lot better show. I feel like Ashley Anderson was probably the fastest of the field again at the last 5-6 laps. He was buried deep again with like 10 laps to go. I thought he had no chance, and he came from nowhere. And he actually, I was like, well, he's in the frame, and he was nowhere near that at that point. I wish they would have had a little bit better track for the local 8 miles. My boy Jesse Glenn's got kind of buried, but Radetzky still is like the man in Cedar Lake. So
podium finish for Jake Radetzky right there. So, and I got to visit with Jerry Radetzky. I had fun doing that. That was about a half hour with one of the legends here, multiple time WISSOTA 100 winner. That guy won a lot of races. So shout out to Jerry Radetzky. But we kind of looked at the track and it was slippery. They wanted to do their main farming for the main show, but I mean, you still had a 4-way battle for the win in the closing lap. So I mean, ultimately, you can't complain.
Hard to complain.
Yeah,
hard to complain too much.
I mean, we can nitpick a little bit, but it was pretty hard to complain when you really didn't know who was going to win in the closing laps. But congratulations to Nitro James G.O.A.T in the 11. How about
his final moves there? Was absolutely brilliant how he set up that pass for the win. So congratulations to Nitro.
Absolutely. And he struggled. Remember, I think he had engine problems something night one, and to kind of work through that and get the win at the end, he needed that for sure. On the World of Outlaws side, USA Nationals, a lot of movers and shakers, right? If you look at the box score on the winner, you're like, oh, must not have been passing. Guys started up front. If you look at second, third, and fourth, you're like, okay, maybe not, because there was a lot of passing throughout. I guess, Mac, we'll start with you again. What stuck out to you on the... now, keep in mind, sponsors the 58 car. Don't get too feisty here. All right.
I thought Garrett hung in there pretty good, Gustin got by him, and then he was hanging in there, and he was starting to catch up a little bit, and then Shepard got by him, and then the caution came out, and then we got mad, and, so...
This was not Garrett's fault.
No.
Mind you, so Garrett got hit by the tardy curse. Every car that I had tonight ran either first or second at some point in time, and Garrett got caught in the tardy curse. They're like, "Hey, tardy picked me. I'm gonna have something happen. And I'm gonna slide backwards here."
So we blame him for sure.
But
it was my fault. Sorry, Garrett.
It was a good race to see those guys that finished up towards the front move up 14, 12, 13 spots. So it was a good race, and I mean, we got, Gustin and Shepard were right there with each other. Brandon got underneath them there at one point, and then Gustin just got by him. I mean, Gustin was a class field tonight.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody's catching him. I mean,
I thought at one point, I'm like, Bishop has kept his car very balanced, very square the whole race, and I thought at one point that Bishop was going to come up there, and his car was rotating. Nobody else's car was rotating. I'm like, Bishop's going to come up there, and he's going to pull this slider, and he's going to drive away from him. Well, we had that caution at very weird times. Bishop blows his tires off, drives into the corner right, and almost drives it straight into the wall. All of a sudden, Bishop's great handling car that rotated all of a sudden completely went the opposite way, right?
So he had a tough restart there for sure.
But how about Mikey Marlar? Marlar from deep,
what did he start? 16th?
16th,
Yeah.
and he was up to second, yeah.
He was on a mission. And after talking to him after the race and stuff, he just wished that he would have gotten there sooner, because rather than having that late push. Because at the end, he's like, there was just really no real estate for him to make an actual pass on him. He thought if he could have gotten away from Gustin, that he could have made that pass.
And we talked about it earlier. I'm like, well, maybe they're going to kind of conserve. Maybe they're going to bide their time. They were setting a blistering pace from lap one. There's no conserving anything. They were wide open on the chip for 100 laps.
I think Garrett's lap was 0.3 of a second faster than anybody's fastest lap, that first or second lap. And
oh my God, he was fast.
You got to save those tires, and then, but it was hammered down right from the get-go, and it was I thought it was a good race.
I didn't talk to Garrett. I'm assuming he broke something in the left front, because as early in the halfway, just before
about
halfway,
50 laps in, I think is when we got it.
Yeah, Madden got into him good.
Yeah,
he got into his left front.
I think they
there's not a guy that can just nonchalantly bend a guy's car without making it look on purpose better than that guy. I mean, Madden will do that.
Yeah.
But one more thing I wanted to touch on, Nick Hoffman. Right, midway through that race, I looked at you. There was a yellow, and I'm like, Hoffman's car has come in, and that thing just kept going and going and going. Was it 23rd to 4th tonight?
25th, I think.
25th to 4th?
He was plus 21. So, Yeah, that's provisional. He had to take a provisional to get in and snuck up into the top 5. That's a great points night.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because your boy, Bobby Pierce,
I think he got 11th.
He did beat Brent Larson, right? We've been dogging you for that. But rough weekend for Bobby Pierce. It doesn't happen often, but he struggled this week.
And there again, just I think he was in the pits 3 times, and just 7 to go. He was passing cars, and like, hell, 7 to go, I might as well. He just went a lap down to Gustin, and he was kind of just running the same pace as Gustin. Gustin was happy to follow him because he was running pretty good. Well, hell, yellow comes out, I might as well just go change a tire again, and 7 to go, maybe I can get a couple, and he did. He got a couple of spots there at the end, trying to salvage as many points as he can, right?
I'm gonna give like an unsung hero award because we've talked like this whole time about the National Series, and we haven't even mentioned Aho's favorite number, favorite color, the 71. And sorry, Eric, I'm sorry I had to take your $20, but after watching him earlier in the night, I'm like, he's bolted. I didn't care that he started way in the back. I said the 71, O'Neill will finish in the top 3. And my brother Eric's Hardy's like, no, that's not happening. He bet me $20. Sorry, Eric. But the unsung hero, probably the guy that will be forgotten about, is the 71. He kind of lingered back there in that 10th range for like forever and made a late race charge. He was fast at the end, you guys, and I think if he could have gotten there a little earlier, he also would have been in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, it was great racing. Not a race for the win at any point, but I mean, the race for second, third, fourth, and throughout the field. I mean, that is the benefit, right, to being at a race as compared to watching online. If you watch that race online, I don't know what they showed, but the wrong streaming platform might be showing just the guy up front, and you're like, well, this is kind of boring. This ain't even a good race. But being here in person, it's like there was battles throughout the field the whole entire race. And, man, I don't make it to too many races anymore. I just don't, and neither do you, right? But the fact is, the atmosphere here at the USA Nationals is second to none. I mean, it is unreal. Prairie Dirt Classic is great. I love the Prairie Dirt Classic at Falls. But this place is bigger, there's more people, there's more seating, there's just more atmosphere similar to the PDC. But I tell you what, they did a great job with this 100%. Event at the USA Nationals. Hats off to the Cedar Lake Speedway. And again, everybody with the Fans Fund deal. I mean, that was awesome too, getting them provisionals in and being able to throw some money at them. I want to give a shout out to them as well. But any closing thoughts?
There's another thing. I was actually kind of shocked. Billy Moyer comes to the Fans Fund breakfast or luncheon today. And he goes home. I mean, he had a chance of getting a provisional. I don't know if that was actually going to happen, but he didn't even stick around to find out.
I heard it might have been a thing. Like they said, if somebody relevant or somebody who's like, well, Billy Moyer is the relevant guy. Like he's like got as many of these things as anybody. Five-time champion.
And I don't know if something else came up or maybe he left. Maybe there was an emergency. We did not get a chance to talk to him. But yeah, I mean, literally 12:30 Fans Fun Luncheon. He's there. He's visiting. It was great to see Billy. And he talked. Man, we got a lot of work to do. So being there. We're like, yeah, we got a lot of work to do, meaning he's going to try to race, and he did not, which, he was buried. I mean, he was, 17th? I think he was starting in a B, but he might have got that provisional, got in, and been able to do something with it. But at least he was here. Hopefully, it's not the last time we see him at the USA Nationals.
He did mention that at the luncheon, too. He goes, hopefully I can come back and see y'all again.
Right.
Love every one of them at that luncheon today spoke on that, right? I come here, I see the same faces every year. I've made friends here. I've partied and drank beer with people every year, and the atmosphere is different than other crown jewels that we go to. And so there you go. Another shout out to Cedar Lake Speedway for putting on a program that's second to none.
My big takeaway from this thing was I feel like, and I don't know if you felt it, Ryan, but Ryan said this like early in the year. He's like, we're going to the USA Nationals. The USA Nationals has it's been a thing, but I honestly, coming away from this one, and we talk a lot about streaming, how streaming's great because, we don't have to get dirty, we don't, whatever the reason is, but this was one that you had to be at. And I feel like after watching this Nationals compared to the past ones, this is my personal feeling, I feel like this is a rebirth, the USA Nationals. I feel like this re-put this place on the map this weekend. I felt like this was that big of an atmosphere, and the crowd was electric.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
a lot of energy.
And it wasn't just tonight, right? It was all 3 nights. The stands were packed.
And
they ran out of green chili burritos. I was trying to break the record for the most green chili burritos ate in a weekend, right? So I made up the record as 7, and I said I was going to get 7. Yeah, I had 6, and then they didn't have any more left for me today.
The full field of cars and the racing that was going on back in the pack is what I feel sorry for other people missing this time. I don't normally feel that way, and we talk about that all the time. We're like, yeah, but what didn't we see? The ones that weren't here, they missed the real show, and that was the guys that lingered back. You know, the O'Neills, the Hoffmans, and that was the steal of the show.
60 laps into that race, I looked at Ryan, and I'm like, well, Pierce, Moran, and RTJ all pitted at the same time. They all went and got tires. I said, them guys are going to beat the hell out of each other, burn up their tires, just racing with each other, trying to get back into the race.
Right.
You know, and they kind of did.
Well, how about JD, right? We're talking a humbling sport here.
Yeah.
I mean, JD starting up in the second row, and he drove her all the way back. Did he finish in the top 10?
Yeah, I think he was in the top.
Barely.
Yeah, barely in the
Barely.
top 10.
That's a big surprise.
I mean, and that just goes to show, I mean, you get to one of these races, if you're off a little, you're off a lot.
Wait.
You know,
Bobby Pierce at one time almost got lapped.
He did. And
The yellow saved him.
I'm sorry, Sean,
Bob was giving him stick signals right in front of us, and he's like doing like this, like, get on it. The leader's coming.
Well, and
Chonga's shirt is for a Bobby Pierce shirt. It says "ass whooping coming." Sorry, Bobby.
That's next
You
week.
got
That's
an
next
ass. Bobby got an ass
Right,
whooping.
absolutely. You know, another guy that made a pretty good charge forward tonight, quietly, was Brandon Overton. You know,
He did.
Midway through that race, he looked like he was maybe going to get up there and make a charge, and he just kind of stalled out at about, you know, that top 4 and 5 spot.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, so overall, just a great weekend. You know, appreciate everybody jumping on here tonight. I can't barely see my phone because I'm old and don't have my bifocals on. So there's probably a couple comments on here. We were going to put Mac on that, but we had to get him on the show instead. But thanks for tuning in. USA Nationals were great. We do already have the campsite booked again for next year. So we've already made the commitment. We will be back in 2026. Super excited about that. Closing thoughts here?
Like and subscribe.
Like
And subscribe if you guys like the content. These guys have already told me that they promise they're going to bring back more of this content. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell your friends of friends. Like and subscribe to Wonder Go
You know,
Show.
He's hired. We got to hire this
That
guy.
is a good point because, you know, we got a lot of followers, right? But we don't have a whole lot of banter going on the platforms with the messages, and it would be a lot of fun to have some of our fans and friends to be able to banter back and forth with. So
Tell us what you guys thought. As far as we had an experience, it's always fun for me as a fan of the show and of these guys to go on and read your guys' comments, see what you guys thought.
Yeah,
So,
post in the comments whatever stuck out to you this weekend, and then when we have our show this week, we'll grab some of the comments out of there from this past weekend, and we'll use some of them this week. So again, we got Mac here, East Central Sports, Changa, J.R. Tardy in the house. I'm Ryan. Thanks for tuning in to the One to Go Show.